We were a group of ludicrous idealists who decided we'd rather get on
with this music in the background, like, yeah, we were ludicrous idealists. Yeah, go buy my course. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Akira, and today we're going to do something special. Today I decided to analyze not a speech, not a presentation, but just a YouTube channel, right? Because we're all surrounded by the media, and there are lots of figures, lots of people who actually influence us through the screen. And today, our specific guest is no other than Codie Sanchez. If you don't know who she is, Codie Sanchez is a business YouTuber. She makes videos about how to grow a business, right? How to grow a small business and all this sort of stuff, okay? And you can ask me, hey Nikita, what's so special about her, right? Why are we watching it? Well, you know what? Forbes actually said that she's top 10 creator on a platform. Right, as you can see here, if we go to Forbes top 10 creators in 2026, and if we refresh the page, okay, very quickly, right, because you see, like, this Forbes want me to pay $89, you know, just to show you the screenshot, but if you do that a couple of times, all right, we'll actually find her here. All right, actually, I just even took a screenshot so you can actually see it here. Okay, so she is top 10 creator by the on the platform by Forbes. Okay, see, there's no reason to pay 12 bucks. Just because all you can do, you can just refresh the page and take a screenshot that you need, right? Hey Forbes, how are you doing, guys there? Okay, hold tight. So, as you can see here, she is top 10 creator on the platform. So I just decided, you know what? She's in a business niche. Business niche is very competitive. It means that if people watch her, it means that they're not watching someone else, right? So I thought, you know what? Let's take a look. Let's watch one of her videos. Let's break it down, you know, using behavioral economics, social psychology, rhetoric, you know, media language, everything, right? Everything that we have in our arsenal to do this analysis and see what's so special. What does she do to influence people, right? Through her YouTube channel. But before we dive into her videos, let's go into her media analysis board, right? I'll just give you some context. So, the agent who will be influencing people today is Codie Sanchez, right? So Codie Sanchez is an entrepreneur, a business owner. The target audience, right, of her YouTube channel are business owners, okay? People who want to start a business, aspiring business owners, right? So the topic that her channel is based around is how to build a business and how to build wealth, right? So how to make money. Very popular topic, right? So medium where she will be doing it is YouTube. It's very important when we're talking about media influence, is important to understand the platform where this influence happens, because different platforms has different rules of the game. So for instance, if you want to grow a YouTube channel, it will be different than if you want to grow a TikTok account. And the goal, okay, why is she creating her videos, is because she wants to grow a personal brand, right? So that's the primary goal. The secondary goal, obviously, is to make money, promote her services, offers, courses, whatever. Now, after doing this media analysis, we can actually have some conclusions. So first of all, what her key objectives are. Number one is that regarding your target audience, she needs to explain how her ideas connect to the idea of making money and becoming wealthy, and do it in simple terms. Number two, she needs to show that she's a person that is an expert in the field, also likable and can be trusted. Now, because she makes videos on YouTube, she needs to make sure that the content is interesting, dynamic, and people won't turn it off. And also, the end goal is basically to promote her offers, events, courses, etc. And we will see actually how she will do it. Now we understand what's going on here, and we can analyze her video very critically. I actually picked this one with this provocative title, Forget MBAs, this is the fastest path to wealth. Sounds good, right? Sounds interesting. Look, as usual, right, we will not be watching the whole video simply because, you know, it's 30 minutes long, and I also need to, you know, leave some commentary about it. I want to show you specific things, what she does that actually influences people and makes people watch her videos over other people. Let's go.
This building behind me costs students and taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars. But what if I told you the entire institution might be built on a lie?
Hear this line? Is that, hey, she shows, I think that this is, you know, some sort of a Harvard or something, right? She shows, hey, this is actually costs a lot of money, right? So billions of dollars, but then, hey, what if this industry is a lie? So what she does here is that she catches your attention. It's very important to understand here, okay, that YouTube is different than if it's a political speech or if it's a presentation or whatever. You know why? Because people watch videos on YouTube differently than if they, you know, watch something else. So how do people watch videos, okay? They go to youtube.com, right? I'm a viewer, I just go to youtube.com, I see lots and lots of videos here, and I'm thinking what to watch, right? I'm thinking what to watch. I'm clicking on the video and I start watching it. And that's why if at the beginning of the video, I'm deciding if I want to watch this video or not. So that's why her goal at the beginning is to hook the viewer, hook them so they will stay and watch the video. And that's what she does in the first 10 seconds.
Education is supposed to be an investment. MBAs are starting to look like a scam. You're paying $200,000 to learn outdated frameworks from professors who've never run a business. What if the smartest thing was skipping school altogether and doing this instead?
And then here she says, right, so what if the better way to do it is just completely skipping school and do this instead? And then this instead is actually, again, makes you be more curious about, well, okay, what is that, right? I want to know. So creates curiosity gap and motivation to keep watching, all right?
By the way, I'm Codie Sanchez, founder of Contrarian Thinking, and we've built dozens of businesses with mostly not MBAs.
What she does here is basically she establishes authority, right? We need to understand that we're watching a YouTube channel, educational YouTube channel about business. And in this niche, it's very important to understand that when people are watching the videos, they need to trust this person, right? Because she's basically going to give advice about how to make money, right? And then, well, people want to know, hey, are you legit? Can I trust you? And that's why, first of all, what she does, she hooks the viewer, right? And the second thing that she does, before diving into the main part of the video, before actually, talking and discussing, she establishes authority. She establishes authority through talking about who she is and her results.
What we're getting into in this video, anyone can do. It's not about the money you have. It's not the education you have. It's something else entirely. Let's get into it. See, I spent the last 4 years teaching other people to buy and build businesses. I worked on Wall Street for a decade before we built out our holding company, investing in everything from robots to roofers. And I also made a bunch of videos on the internet.
So basically what she does here is, again, establishes authority one more time, right? So after that, look, it's been like 50 seconds of the video, right? But then, hey, she hooked the viewer, right? You know what the video will be about. If you're the target audience, you're a small business owner, she says, hey, if you want to grow a business, don't go to MBA. MBA sucks. You know what? Listen to me. I'm the person who built lots of businesses, right? So she hooked your attention and then she established credibility.
So today, I'm going to start us with a powerful idea. Education is investment in your future, but if traditional business education were a stock, it would be the worst performing investment of the next 20 years. If you want to go study business, where should you go then? It's a rhetorical question.
Okay, so here basically what she does, in media psychology, it's called expectancy value theory. So what is expectancy value theory? When we are interacting with the media, we as viewers interact with the media because we want to get some value out of it, okay? And there are different sorts of value that we can get. For instance, we can be entertained, right? That's why we can watch, some funny TV show, comedy, or playing video games. There's also social aspect of it, is that we can connect with other people through this, through watching the media. For instance, if we're talking about watching Twitch streamers, right? The third thing here is that education information. That's why we're watching news or maybe this video like that. And the fourth one is, there's another one. It's called, basically like the idea is that you reinforce your values. All right, but that's definitely not that, right? So here, the whole video actually starts and she throws the hook once again by saying, hey, if the MBA sucks, what should you do instead, right? And now the video basically starts. I also here, by the way, want to point out another important thing is not really about what she says, but how everything looks, right? Because if we pay attention to her, is that, look, so she has a business attire, right? Dressed like a businesswoman. But at the same time, right, so she shows our competence, that she's a competent person. But at the same time, she also will be showing warmth. In the world of media influence, you need to show three things. Number one, you need to show that you are authority, an expert. Number two is that you need to show that you're trustworthy, that people can trust you. And number three is that likability, that people like you. And actually, I just want you to pay attention here to specifically to color correction, as that we can see here warm colors. So she dressed in a business suit, right? So this is expert. She signals that she's an expert. But at the same time, everything is warm colors, that is wood, right? So she's not a cold expert. She's very warm and approachable expert, right? So warmth and competence working together. All right, let's keep watching.
Okay, so today, I'm going to show you that is no longer an obvious choice at all. Here's a recent article from the New York Times. Since you guys don't have bionic vision, I'm just going to tell you what it says. It describes how businesses are complaining about MBA graduates. What frustrates them? You guys have probably heard this before. Over-reliance on mathematical management, expectations of becoming a CEO in 4 weeks. It also warns that at a time when American business is changing, business schools suffer from cookie cutter syndrome. They offer insufficient training for entrepreneurship and small business. My guess is some of you are sitting there saying, yeah, that sounds about right. Except I lied to you. This study isn't recent at all. It's from January 1981, or almost 50 years ago, when the starting salary of a Stanford grad.
So basically here what she does, right? Topic of the video is that, hey, if MBA is worth it or not, she starts with the problem, right? In every public speech, you know, even if it's a YouTube video or a public speech at all, okay, you want to start with the problem. That she says, hey, here's a, MBA, great idea. Well, here's the problem. MBA is useless. People are complaining about it. She actually even supports it with some research, but this research was done, a long time ago, and it actually makes it even more interesting, right?
Was $32,000. Now, let me be clear. I got an MBA. It opened doors for me. And the top.
This is actually a very, very important thing to say here because, if you're going to trash MBA and saying, hey, you know what? It's not a good idea. Now, look, if you've got an MBA yourself, let people trust you more, right? Because now this is, not only that, hey, you're a successful business owner, but this is your specific experience that you're a person who got an MBA. Okay. So yeah, that's a smart thing to mention.
Top schools know their customers. Like, what are us millennials more afraid of than war and death? FOMO. They're afraid of missing out. And what do the top schools really do well? They foster elite networks, or the idea of them. So MBAs will tell you the network alone is worth the cost. And yeah, you could say maybe that's true because look, the S&P 500, arguably one of the best wealth creation tools in history, is like largely a network of MBAs. But bottom line, MBA programs, while they cranked out plenty of talent, today they're facing what I think is their first real crisis of purpose since creation.
Now look, here what she does is called two-sided persuasion. When you are dealing with an audience that can be potentially skeptical, all right, you want to show not only one side of an argument, but another side of a coin, and basically use it as a refutation. Okay, because look, if the audience already trusts you, trusts what you're going to say, you don't need to do it. But here, she assumes that her audience might be skeptical. And she says, hey, you know what? Look, MBA is bad. Well, now you might think that MBA is a good idea, but actually, no, it's bad. Right? She makes a conclusion. So yeah, this is a two-sided persuasion. Really, really great. If you're ever going to influence or persuade someone, and if you know that will be an objection, you better prepare for this objection and say it. Good idea. I love that.
Reasons. One, they're just not getting people jobs like they used to, which explains this, why these poor guys who took the traditional elite MBA path get a degree, get a role in finance, big tech, or consulting, aka some of the industries most immediately impacted by AI-driven disruption, cost-cutting, are now asking why. The old saying, nobody ever got fired for hiring McKinsey, new saying, good chances are you'll get fired by working at McKinsey.
So yeah, what I like here is that she makes the point here and also supports it with some data. And actually, we've been watching this video right now for 3 minutes. But at the same time, we can see actually how everything that she says is supported with something, right? So this is not just her, thoughts. Is that, hey, she says, here's the thing that I have to say, and here's the point, here's some data that supports it. That's great. I love that.
Good luck with your layoffs, all right? I hope your firings go really well.
Excellent. Great.
And then people will say, well,
okay, here's a joke. Okay, here's a joke that someone edited. Well, not her, right? Probably but the video editor. But this is a good idea because adding humor increases her likability as a speaker. Remember what we're talking about, that you need to be not only an expert, but also warm and approachable, right? By putting some humor there, you do two things. Number one, you show warmth, right? So this is good for credibility as an expert. Number two is that you make the video more interesting, right? Because remember what? We're still on YouTube. That, there are also lots of videos here that actually also want my attention as a viewer. Because if I'm not interested, if I'm bored by the slightest, you know what I'll do? I'll just click here and we'll be just watching some, K-pop star dances. Right? So, she doesn't want me to watch K-pop star dancing, right? She wants me to watch her, and that's why they have jokes there. Okay.
Well, what about MBAs for entrepreneurship? Well, one of the most successful business builders in history, sure, many of them have MBAs, but go to a party in Silicon Valley this Friday night and tell people you have one. Cringe, nobody cares. To half the folks in the Valley, getting an MBA to learn entrepreneurship is like going to celibacy school to learn sex.
How'd that get in there?
Just doesn't make any sense. And so new college grads are facing their cohort's worst relative unemployment numbers in decades. Young male college grads in particular are having as much trouble getting jobs as those who never went to college. Look at this headline. Student coders seek work at Chipotle.
See, look, that part, I just love that. See, look, how much, like, she had so much data, right, to make her point. It's never just, just a claim, right? Remember, I told her that, I told you that she was a journalist, right? And when you're a journalist, you're actually taught to write. And you're always, when you're making a point, it's a good idea to have not only logical side of an argument, but also emotional side of an argument, right? Because you will never convince people if you showing only stats. And that's actually, I really, really love about this channel, about this video specifically, right? That she shows something, some data, some facts, some statistics, but at the same time, she's very, very emotional in her deliveries, like saying, hey, it's like learning something that just doesn't make sense, or it's like working at Chipotle, right? So it's also like, emotional. Because of that, you're convinced more that she doesn't really persuade you only using dry facts and data. But at the same time, there is substance there, right? There is some data, some facts. And that's why, you trust her.
So that's problem number one. Problem number two, utility. MBA programs, they don't adapt. They're just not relevant to a lot of people and businesses. And what do I mean by they're slow to adapt? This. AI moves at warp speed, but curriculum development moves at DMV speed.
Also, this video works in a way that, first of all, she starts, hey, MBA sucks, right? And now basically, if we just take a look at the video overall, right, of the, like a story, if we take a look at the whole script of the video, we will see that basically she makes the point, hey, today we will talk about that MBA sucks. Now, MBA sucks because two reasons. Number two, right? Now she makes her second point, right? The second point that MBA sucks. And then after that, she will be talking about the solution. Basically, she made one point now, or why MBA sucks, but now she makes a second one, and it's like, another nail in the coffin of MBA. Makes a point, right? Also, now we can actually see her also joke, right? Likability, watch time, everything.
2 years and $200K to emerge with skills employers found kind of attractive in 2017. Not a great deal. People will be like, oh, but the brand association with a top school is worth it. Well, not according to the brand.
Oba, do you see that again? Remember I was talking about refutation? Is that you're doing two-sided persuasion? She makes, hey, making a point, right? You might think. No, right? Again, refuting possible counter-argument.
Harvard says here, going to Harvard is not going to be a differentiator, says Harvard. The market no longer cares what's printed on the diploma. It cares what you can do on a Monday morning.
I actually might disagree with her point, by the way, here, all right? Well, but I think it's still gonna work, is that, hey, if you're from Harvard, you know why? Because, look, imagine that you just, finish some random university, right, that no one knows about but just you and maybe another 10 people. And contrary to the person who finished Harvard, you're going to apply to the job. If the person who's going to recruit you, they don't really know a lot about you, obviously they will just take a look at some superficial cues. And Harvard is a big institution. Basically, if you're saying, hey, I'm a student from Harvard, you're doing what is called the borrowing credibility. Is that Harvard is a very credible institution. You're basically, by saying, hey, I was a part of it, I was a student there, you're borrowing credibility there. So it's definitely like not a mistake, maybe it will not be that big of a difference now, between Harvard and another institution. But because of the brand, if you're saying, hey, you're from Harvard, you definitely have an advantage over the person who didn't go to Harvard if you're applying for a job.
The schools are still required and highly relevant for like a very specific set of jobs, I guess. But there are 5.5 million businesses with less than 500 employees in the United States. Most don't look like this, they look like this.
Okay, so basically, again, two-sided persuasion, right? She makes, again, another part of a claim. Overall, is that saying, well, obviously, yes, you're right. MBAs are important, but only for a small group of people, right? So by doing that, again, by showing another part of an argument here is that she increases trustworthiness, right? Because that's her goal, is that, to make sure that people trust her and trust what she's saying, right? Look, because you know what, I'll tell you guys, because her goal is to sell her camp or sell her courses. And obviously she just wants people to trust what she has to say, right? So here, just, by doing that, by making a point, by supporting it with data, by adding a little bit of humor, by showing counter arguments and then refuting them, basically after 6 minutes of watching the video, you're pretty convinced that MBA is probably not for you. Look, now we're officially half after watching the video, right? So basically, first 7 minutes, she was convincing us that MBA is not for us, right? MBA for just regular folks, we don't really need to go to MBA. And now here we will see that now she will make a transition. She'll be like, a small, smooth transition into what she has to sell, right? So let's watch how she will be doing it, all right?
Electrician or a plumber, nor do I look like one. But remember, I do own a lot of laundromats. And when you try to buy or own a business, you inherit every problem all at once: hiring, firing, cash flow, competitors, banks. No pause button to figure it out. For me, there was no place to go learn this kind of stuff and apply it in real time to my business. No school made sense. I felt like I was totally alone. And of course, what you realize over time is you weren't alone at all. There were millions of other business owners just like you out there for whom traditional business education just didn't make any sense.
See, now we're in this bridge, right? Hey guys, today we will talk about if that MBA not worth it. Now, 2 reasons. Number 1, number 2. Now, well, you know what? I was there just with you, wanted to watch, wanted to grow my business. Now, but there was no school that actually could help me. Smooth, elegant transition. All right. This is good. This is extremely, extremely well done. I love that, really. Again, it might look like, by the way, I'm trashing her or criticizing for that. No, it's not. Okay. I'm just showing you guys how it works. All right. I mean, if her service is good, then why not, right? Go ahead.
For you. So I ended up creating something different to serve this community. Another way for current and aspiring business owners to get the tactical education they need. Here's the founding idea. There's a massive market out there for business education that doesn't suck and it is not in lecture halls, that actually teach startup game and implement it in real time. Not case studies from 10 years ago, but real deals happening that day. Here's what you need: a distributed system with concierges and administrators who keep you on
So basically now here she is pitching her school, right? That's what's happening, right?
track and make sure you have what you need. Coaches to help you get through roadblocks every day. Badges to gamify progress. Share wins with your peers. Distributed structure, you're actually able to build something that's a fraction of the cost of a traditional full-time MBA, but 10x more valuable.
Ooh, I love that comparison. Look at that. I love this. Look, this is basically visual persuasion. That she makes the point, but also they visualize this point, right? She's saying, hey, this is a 10th cost of the MBA, right? And we can see it. And then 10x more focus. And as you can see here, like, right, by looking at that, you can see it and just, you know, sounds way more valuable to you. I love that. I love that. This is a very good pitch.
So right now, alternative formats are serving thousands of people all around the country. So who should go to an MBA versus go to a school like ours? Well,
oh, wow. Right. And also, by the way, here we can see a social proof that, you know, her school is good. Very important thing, right? That when people are deciding if this school is good or not, they cannot really tell. A very, very powerful way to show actually that your school is good is to show the students. It's basically like, oh, you know, yeah, I'm not alone. Actually, there's a lot of people there. Okay, great.
here are some of our people's backgrounds. You'll notice they come from all walks of life. You've got nurses, you've got engineers, you've got people coming straight out of college. I think that's so important. Last year, newspapers reported on Mr. Yokohama, a 73-year-old logistics business owner in northern Japan who did something crazy. He had a 30% profit margin, 17 employees, equipment, nearly 150 acres of land. Yet he gave it all away completely for free. Because in Japan, business sales aren't the norm. Traditionally, you pass down a company to a family member or apprentice, but there was no one left to take it. His children didn't want it, not his employees, no young people in the town. They'd moved to big cities. So he listed the business for free on the condition that anyone move to his small town, learn the trade, keep it running. And he's not alone. Look at what's happening in Japan. Japan is facing a demographic crisis that threatens the survival of thousands of businesses. Young people aren't getting married, so it makes sense that the birth rates are at an all-time low too. The result? In 2021, 44,000 businesses in Japan were abandoned. More than half of them were still profitable when they closed.
Ooh, oh my god, I love that. Like, see, now she's making her point, also supports this with data, but at the same time, now she's way more heavily on the emotional side of an argument. She talks, first of all, right, because when she makes here a statement, she supports it with a story, with a sad story, right? And also, there's even the music. If you pay attention actually to the music is also, you know, sad and just, you know, emotional. So here at this point, basically, as a viewer, you're expected to, you know, like to feel a little bit sad because of this, right? So this is a very, very hard attack on the emotional appeal. And also, by the way, she also supports it with some data. I love that.
Now, that may be Japan's fate, 5,000 miles away, but I want to make sure this never happens here. I want you, as an aspiring business owner, to have the skills, network, and education to thrive. Like if you want to run a plumbing business or a car wash, you don't need 2 years and $250,000 just for tuition. Every profitable business can continue to live on if you actually learn how to take up the baton. You know, this country, we were entrepreneurs.
Oh, again, now see here, look, the video is about to get closer to the end, okay? And her goal is to pitch her product. Now, very important here, that if you're going to pitch a product, you need also not only, again, to lead with logic, but also with emotions. And that's why here, as you can see here, to the end of the video, right? Because now it's basically time for a call to action. Like, hey, wake up, MBA is bad. Go buy my, you know, school community, I don't know, whatever. She leads with a very, very emotional part, with a very sad, emotional story about some guy in Japan, right? And then she's like, hey, right? So you're feeling sad. And then after that, boom, there is some motivation. There is some emotions there. And she's like, hey, this country was built by people, right? So now she's like fully on emotional attack. Yeah, this is emotional appeal, and I love it. This is really well done.
From the start, we were a group of ludicrous idealists who decided we'd rather get on
with this music in the background, like, yeah, we were ludicrous idealists. Yeah, go buy my course. All right. Well, anyway. Okay, maybe if it's a good course, that's a good course. Okay, I'm just saying how it's done. All right.
A boat, leave everything behind, and build something great rather than settle for somebody else being in charge. Everybody.
All right. So yeah, this is a very, very good emotional appeal. I love that. This is really what it needs to be done, okay, if you really want to motivate your audience to go and do something. Not, you're leading with emotions, not in logic, right? And now basically here at this point, she is really about to pitch, okay? Is that first of all, he hooked our attention by telling, hey, if MBA is worth it or not, then made one point why it's not a good idea, made a second point why it's not a good idea, then slowly transitioned into the school, explaining what the school is, and then leading with emotional attack, motivational attack, right? By talking about sad stories about the Japan, and then motivational story about that you can do if you're a patriot of this country. And now here, this part, very close now to the end of the video, is a call to action. So let's go, let's watch it.
If you wanted to learn how to actually build a business today, not raise...
Also, pay attention to the music, by the way. Pay attention to the music, okay?
Back to where we started. If you wanted to learn how to actually build a business today, not raise venture dollars, not chase hype, but buy something real, built to thrive in the AI age, something you could hand to your kids, something that leaves a mark on your community long after you're gone, and actually how to do that relatively quickly and affordably, then there's only one place to do this. And that's what we call Owner Nation. You're already here with us learning for free on YouTube for that reason. And if you want to...
Okay, so this is, see, like very, very inspirational appeal, right? Very, very motivational.
Go a step deeper, we got you at Contrarian Academy, where we do the exact same thing. This country wasn't built by MBAs. It was built by people who bet on themselves, people like you. So with everything that you know now about what's happening with AI, what's happening with MBAs, and this huge, giant question mark we have over our heads, I think the question you have to ask yourself is, what are you going to do about it? And if you
see how motivational, and also like this motivational music in the background, really great, really well done. I love that.
You want me to write a video telling you what I'd do? Tell me in the comments, because this, I believe, is one moment that we either get to choose to change this country or watch it fall.
I think like one thing though is that maybe I would be a little bit more emotional here, right? Because I think that, you know, here we just need really have a very, very strong ending. Yeah, but this was actually a great video. I really do. Look how she hooked us right from the start by showing, the school, right, that's false and telling, hey, this is a scam. Then after that, she made us curious by telling, hey, here's a rhetorical question. So should you get an MBA or not? And if you're a business owner who's the target audience of her YouTube channel, you're definitely interested in this type of stuff, right? Then after that, she makes the point, number one, right, why this is a bad idea. Number two, why this is a bad idea. But also showing another side of an argument, right? And everything is like supported with the facts, with the facts. Then she makes a conclusion that yes, this is a bad idea. Now she does a very, very smooth transition into like, hey, what to do instead. And then after that, right, she leads with a solution. And solution is also made by, hey, here's the problem, emotional story about the guy in Japan who is, getting older, right, with this bad, sad music in the background. Then after that leads it, but here's the solution, right? So problem, solution. Also, very motivational, patriotic. Hey, this country was built by. Yeah, great. And then, hey, call to action, go join our school. Right? Basically, the whole video was a big ad, but it was a great one. I really loved it. I think that it was really, really good, okay? Yeah, so this is it, basically. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, then hit the like and subscribe to our channel so you will not miss my future reviews of some different speeches or other thing. Okay, look, if there's anything specifically that you want me to watch, by the way, and analyze, then go send me a message, leave a link in the comments, or maybe just tell me the name of the video. I'll go and find it and maybe I'll review it next. Okay, so this is it for today. My name is Akira, this was Influence Lab, and I'll see you next time. Boo!